She's coming. Man, it's on. The engine broke loose. That's a happy sight. Can't believe I clubbed myself in the head. Look at this. Hey guys, it's Bill, Flatbroke Garage. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Thanks for stopping by and checking it out. If you're a regular, you pretty much know what this car is. This is my 1970 and a half Ford Falcon. Yeah, that's right. It's a Falcon, not a Torino. This is a half-year model car Ford made just to kind of end out the Falcon run. Kind of a weird deal, but Ford, you know. It's kind of a rare one in the half-year model because it's a two-door V8 power steering car, where most of the Falcons that came out in 70 and a half are six-cylinder, three-in-a-tree, four-door cars. They made some wagons too. They also offered a Cobra Jet version of this, if you can believe it or not. But so it was like really entry-level basic car. It's a Torino, but they did some weird things. They added a vent window to a two-door, so it's a post car. I mean, you know, it's got a metal frame where Torinos, you know, they don't. I have a four-door version of this with a six-cylinder. If, like I said, you're a regular, you know what it is. I call it the Falcarino because it's a Falcon Torino, kind of like this. This is Falcarino 2.0. So what this video is basically going to be is a kind of a condensed version of all the other videos. If you want to see a more in-depth video of digging this car out and a 71 Torino four-door that came with it, that was even harder to get out than this, they'll be listed in the link below. But like I said, this is going to be kind of a bring you up to speed, first time watching it thing, and so you can kind of see where the car came from and where we're going to take it to. I would really like to restore the car, but we're going to have to weigh the options on that. I am working on a 71 Torino GT right now, and that's got to get finished, and these keep popping up. But I want to at least get it running and driving so it can leave the grave from which it sits. If you guys like this kind of stuff, please subscribe. It would be great. I'd appreciate it. Or if you like the video, just give me a thumbs up. It would be great. You know, leave a comment below. What would you do with this thing? Would you restore it, or would you just like drive it as is? It's going to need, you know, a lot of work, and you're going to find out it's going to have some more issues than I thought it originally had. But the engine's stuck. The wheels didn't turn. Let's get at it. Hopefully you guys stick around and watch. Flatbroke Garage is my buddy Steve from
Phillips Run Rip and Bubble Company.
We're at a car show here in
Hayesville, North Carolina.
Hayesville, North Carolina. Yeah. I had some plans today, but they fell through, so you sent me an invite, so yeah. I figured I'd take the Falcarino out for a long drive. And you know, when you get out here, you get guys that walk up to you and look at it and go, wow, that's really cool and this and that. But this guy says, you know, my brother-in-law, he's got a couple of those sitting on his property.
Right.
You know, and you know, that's never good for us.
The next thing is, what do you want?
Like a moth to a flame, I now feel obligated to go burn my wings and go take a look at these two cars and possibly.
No, he's going to go get two more cars.
So we made it down in here. This is my buddy Peanut.
Yep.
He's the guy that was, I guess, caretaker of the cars. How long have you been caretaker of these two?
This one right here, the Torino, I know 28 years or better.
And has it been sitting back here 28 years?
Yeah, we built the house in 95 and drug it over here then.
Did it run then?
I don't. Probably because it run when I parked it at the other house, and it should have run fine, you know, here.
And what about the Falcon?
I never, it's been here 20-something years also, but I don't know when it run last.
This should be interesting getting them out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, and wish us luck. And if you don't see us coming up, you know a snake's got us. So
I'll come check on you every now and then.
I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. All right, well, here's the Falcon. This is a 1970 and a half Ford Falcon. They only made these for half a year. Oh shoot, little creatures. Yeah, there's no key in this one. No key in this one.
No key?
Nope. There's some mud daubers in here. But I don't know how it is rust-wise because it's got no back window. So that's not good. But she has she's got trees growing in it. I've never had one with trees growing in it. It's a 302, I believe. Looks like a rat's nest under there. Still has the battery. Shame the grill's broke. But looks like it had a tarp on it at one time. So yeah, 302, two barrel. Oh, radiator hose is missing, belt's missing. Radiator hoses. Oh, we got rats. We got big rats. Like they ate that hose up. We can't find keys for this one. It's got a locking steering wheel. We're just going to try and slide it out on the pine needles. No tires are rolling yet, are they? Oh, the front one started rolling. Think so. So here's our plan. We got the cable from the flatbed run over to the back of this, and then we're going to take the cable off the Jeep, run that over here and try and spin the front end around while he pulls that way, because there are some jagged steel I-beams here that would just destroy stuff. So I don't know if it'll work. We're going to try and get the Jeep in position here and get this cable hooked up and go. Man, am I happy to see this thing out of here. before? It's got coil springs with the leaf springs, like coil spring helpers. I've never seen that before. That is the weirdest thing. We just punctured the gas tank, the trailer hitch. The bolt of the trailer hitch went through the gas tank, so that kind of sucks, but I've never seen it. Well, she made it. She is ugly. Oh, how bad are the floors? I know the back floor is gone. Still got the rubber floor mat in it.
This floor's still in it, please.
Yeah. Look at the mud dauber nests.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Mud dauber nests
They're
everywhere.
everywhere.
Look at that.
Yep.
Look at this thing. Look on the gas pedal. Mud daubers down there. I gotta point this out. On the Falcon I got running and driving,
Yeah.
it has a dent right there, and this is indented. This one has a dent right there. I mean, how did that happen? How do those dents happen?
I don't know.
That's so bizarre.
It is. That's a pretty good dent there.
Yeah, without taking out the corner
I know.
piece.
Yeah,
But you know, we have the actual Falcon that fell off it, so.
Yeah.
The problem with this one is engine stuck. She's stuck. What I'm going to do today is pull the plugs. We're going to fill it up with all the concoctions I can think of. We're going to let it sit. Let's get in here and see what we can do. Well, there she is in all her glory. It's a 302, just 2-barrel carburetor. It's extremely complete, which, like I said, leads me to believe this is a low mileage car. You can see there's no grease or oil's been leaking out of the valve covers. The air cleaner's like mint, well, other than the mouse turds. But it's in really good shape. The hose that was on it, that was a factory hose. So I don't know. I see the heater hoses have been replaced. But I did check the oil on this, and the oil, it has oil, and it's up to the, I think, full mark, and it's pretty good. It's clear. So that means no water's gotten in there. And the same thing with the old transmission. It actually has, well, yeah, there it is. It's actually got juice in it. Red juice, not brown. So that's good too. But like I said, she's stuck. So I'm going to pull the air cleaner off, see what kind of housing we got going on under there. Dump some diesel and trans fluid down the carburetor, fill that up, pull all 8 plugs, shoot some more goo in there, and we're just going to let it sit. Come back and crank on it. Well, it's been about a week. We're back at the old Falcon here. We're going to open the hood and put a bar on it and see if all that juice they dumped down in there did any good at all. See if this thing will actually turn over. Let's get this hood open and throw a wrench on it, see if it spins up. Look at that. That's going to fit right in there perfect. Give me the bar here.
We've got to go to the flywheel. Looks like.
Yeah, I don't want to break that bolt.
You'll break the bolt now. It's too much pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, so that ain't good. So a week of soaking, no luck there. We're just gonna let her sit a bit more. Well, here we are. Falcarino 2.0 has been delivered. I gotta go get a tractor now and try and shove it forward. The front wheel was frozen. That's as far as you could slide it with the flatbed. So it's got a trailer hitch. We're gonna kind of get up under it and lift it up and shove it forward. Well, it's the next day. As you can see, the Falcarino 2.0 has arrived. My buddy Steve was storing it in his yard, and he had to move some stuff around. He had it on his truck, so he said he would bring it by. So he brought it by. And this one is a stuck engine. It's been sitting and soaking. Well, here's where we stand on the Falconino 2.0. It's clean inside and out, kind of. Engine is still stuck. I've tried breaker bars. It's been soaking for months. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the radiator and shroud, all that off, pull the pulleys off, and I'm going to make a plate and weld a socket to it so I can bolt right onto the crank. So I'm not leaning on the crank bolt. Try and make a deal to see if we can get this engine turning one way or another. I got to do something with it, and short of pulling the engine, you know, this is my last chance. So I got the engine broke loose. What I did was I made a plate and I bolted it horizontally, and then I took a bottle jack, jacked it up, and had just held pressure on it till it came loose. Now I can put a pipe wrench on this end, and I'm starting to get a little rotation either direction. I'm just going to keep slowly working at it. I might be able to get a socket on here, but I'm going to jiggle it a little bit more first. But whew, broke loose, man. Thank God. This thing was tight. All right, so my plate worked where I put leverage on this end and with a jack and jacked the engine slowly, and it broke it loose. But it's still too tight to turn the engine with the crank bolt. So I'm going to take the torch, cut this off, and I'm going to weld this socket on here. It's just a, it's an obscure piece of junk socket. It's I forgot what size, 15/32, whatever. So yeah, I don't think there's a lot of use for that. So we're just going to glue it on there and see if we can just get a ratchet on it, start spinning it around. That's a happy sight. Oh, look at that. Just turning over easier and easier. I have to see if the starter will work now. Spin it over for a little while. Oh, that's awesome. Still got a little tight spot, but nothing bad. Oh. Oh. Oh, I just clubbed myself in the head. Oh. That's going to leave a mark. Whew. Well, who says there's no blood, sweat, and tears in playing with cars? I can't believe I clubbed myself in the head. Look at this. It hurts, too. I'm just happy the engine broke loose. I broke my head, but engine broke loose. Got the engine broke loose, and the wiring is pretty much just destroyed. I mean, the rats have eaten everything. But what I've done was I ran a wire off the starter. Doesn't have a terminal, but I just got a wire off the starter because the one that's on there is just stripped bare. And I have a ground on it. And as long as the engine's broke loose, I'm going to see if it'll turn. But this is... I checked to see if the engine turned, and this is what happens. The Bendix isn't kicking it. I've smacked it with a hammer a few times, but I just think the starter's junk. I'm going to pull it out. I think I got another starter here, and we'll just put a fresh starter in it, or another starter. Get some oil pressure built up, and then we'll just see if it'll start. I kind of think it will. Well, this is the third Ford starter I've had with strip bolts. I luckily got the top one off, or loose. This one's just rounded off. Luckily, I can get it easy out on it. But look at that. It's just third one. The Granada engine, the other 71 Torino, and this one. I don't know if they're putting these on with impact guns or what, but I'm going to have to get an easy out and see if I can get a hold of that and get it off. These things have saved me a ton of times. I mean, You just smack them on with a hammer and put a ratchet on them and it'll get them out, because vice grips suck. If you can get one of these on there, this is the way to do it. Try to get this thing on here. The transmission lines are exactly in the wrong spot. Yes, I know I need a hoist. I don't know if I got it on there good enough or not. Let's give it a shot. All I gotta do is break it loose. Alright, fingers crossed. Man, it's tight as hell. Why? Oh, got it. Oh, man. For the win. Thank God. Why did they put them in so tight? Let me get this out here. Yeah, that's kind of messed up. Starter bolt is out. Get the starter out of here now. And see if we can fix this one, or just put another used one in here just to get it to turn over. Don't even have the plugs in it. So there you go. No nester in there, so alright, let's get this starter fixed or replaced. The Bendix drive is shot. It just spins but won't engage, so that's junk. I have a new starter in it. I hooked the ground up and I just ran a wire off of the starter direct, and turns over now, baby. We now have a rotating engine. Now we got to work on coil, points. I mean, like I said, everything's just been eaten by rats. So, vacuum lines. I mean, jeez, look at the bite marks. They ate the steering wheel. I got to show you this. I didn't notice this till the other day. Hey, Elmer. Elmer, you helping today? But look at the steering wheel. It's like they sharpened their teeth on the steering wheel. So bizarre. So I've actually put a solenoid on here, tried to wire the car back up. Got some new leads going to it. It's dead. There's no power going to the ignition switch. I do have a jumper button. It did work. Oh, it helps if I put that back on, but I mean, so I'm going to kind of trace down and see. I mean, I don't know if you can see here. See, I mean, the wires are kind of clipped. You're going to have to go back, track some of these wires, because nothing works in the ignition switch. I don't have power coming to anything. I mean, I got no headlights. The key is on. I mean, nothing. So, got a test light in here. I'm going to look underneath this. And I think first I'm going to trace it back. See if we got power coming back to the loom, you know, that goes to the firewall. And if we do, then I know it's from firewall this way. If it does run and drive, we're going to need brakes, and I don't think that's savable. It's not even a hook on it anymore. So I'm going to need cap, rotor, wires. These plugs aren't bad. I can clean them up. maybe for a test fire, but I'm gonna need points. I do have a bunch of just miscellaneous parts. I bought these mighty ignition part cabinets at a estate sale, and they still have parts in them. And I believe, if I remember right, I looked at some of these. This is a Ford rotor, and it's brand new old stock. Yep, there you go. Pretty sure that's the one. So Ford rotor. What do we got here? I don't know if those are the points or not, but got points, condensers. So we got a bunch of just distributors, wires. Oh, I actually have a new Chinesium manual drum master. That's cool, because I want to disc brakes on Ashley's Mustang. So I bought that for the Mustang. Saving money already. I got coils. I got water outlets. Solenoids. You got to buy these by the gross now. These Chinese solenoids. They don't last but about a week or two. So yeah, I think I can scare up some parts. It's the water outlet gasket. I think I got thermostats, fuel filters. So, I mean, don't got a lot, but I got some. Looks like we got some oil pressure too. So there's the original plugs that were in it. I just kind of cleaned them up a little bit. Just gonna throw those in. They should fire. So like I said, yeah, it just, let's see if it starts and runs. If it doesn't knock and bang, and then we'll get some new parts for it. But I just want to hear it fire. I don't know if you can see it, but I got the timing marks cleaned off, and we're at top dead center. It's pointing to where number 1 should be. So plugs are back in it. Let's put the cap on and dump some gas in it and see if it makes noise. Well, here we go. Been sitting 29 years, engine stuck. Got it broke loose. Just kind of did the basics. Throw some used parts on it, new points, new coil. Let's see if this thing's actually going to start. I got some 2-cycle gas here. I don't know anything about this carburetor. Let's put a bunch of juice in it. And where's my jumper? We'll hook the coil up. Let's see if we do anything. My battery's getting weak. Battery charger's on it. Push button. I think I got it wired right. Getting spark. No spark. Maybe you got a bad coil. All right, well, I checked the gap on the points. I re-gapped them, so let's see if this helps. Wow, we got spark. So, all right, guess we just need more gas. All right, got my spark checker thing on, and hit my button. We got spark. Guess we just need more gas. So we're gonna go with a lot more gas. And see if that'll start a fire. It started. We need some more gas. Awesome. Where did the more gas can go? It's gonna run. Awesome. All right, let's change some oil, get some real engine oil in here. And yeah, 29 years, man. This thing's been sitting 29 years, stuck, and it runs. Smokes, we gotta get it running for a while. I got some hoses for it. If we get it running good, put the radiator back in it, hoses on it, get it up to temp. I'm gonna have to change that water pump because it sat with no hoses on it for a while. So I would assume all kinds of stuff got inside the water passages. So we'll get that off, change that, and go from there. I'm stoked. I'm really excited, man. I like this car. Cool. It's still nasty looking. I got some tires under it, so at least it's sitting up on its own feet. But seeing how it's sitting at my house, it should probably look a little bit better or less junky. So I'm actually going to pressure wash it. I mean, it looks pretty good right now in the rain-ish. But I still got to get some of the mold and goo off of it. And I got the old Brillo pads with the soap in them. And we're going to hose her down, wash her, scrub her, wash her again. See if we can bring some life back to the paint so it just doesn't look as, well, old. So let's see if we can make a difference. First layer of tree sap has been removed. Now that I start scrubbing on it, I can see there's definitely stories here. The original owner had this car and his daughter took it out in the winter in Tennessee, so it snowed, and they said she had wrecked it. I don't know if it was that fender or this fender, but either way, both these fenders have been fixed, and the hood has been fixed and repainted, because it's hard to tell on camera, but this is definitely two different shades of gray. So the whole front of the car has been painted. And now when people say patina for old cars, I'm not going to use that term for this car. This is just crap paint. There's no patina here. I mean, like, maybe this. But the roof itself, listen. I mean, well, I scrubbed this with a Scotch-Brite pad and an SOS pad. The roof is like 80 grit. It's tough. And for more of the not patina, we have the patch somebody put in here. There's a lot of stories here I can't figure out how these holes happened here. I think somebody caved it in and the body shop tried pulling the dent out and then patching it, Bondo, and they just blended the paint. Because if you look now, this car was sold by Brett Brown of Cleveland, Tennessee, and you can still read that. So I don't know. And this amazes me. Look at this dent. This dent is huge. I want to know how that dent happened without bending this. It's still bolted onto here and it's still clipped on here. How did this trim not get bent? Put that in the comments, because that is a serious crease. So now I know the car runs. I got to address a few more issues. First issue is there's no electrical power at all inside the car. Nothing works. No headlights, turn signal, blower motor, nothing. No brake lights. I checked. I do have power, main power to the fuse block. I got power to the ignition switch, but it's cramped under there. And there's another problem. The last person that drove this car was a gnome. This seat is as far forward as it can go. If you look, that's where the seat belt is, and the seat is like as far as it can go. Now I'm 6'5", so I ain't gonna fit under this dash to mess with these wires. So I gotta pull this seat out anyways, because I gotta make the seat be able to go forward and backwards. So I'm gonna pull the seat out. While the seat's out, I got room to lay down and get up under the dash and really address the electrical problems. I mean, look how far back it is. The seat belts for the front are back here. So, I mean, it's up there. I can't even weasel in there. So let's get the seat pulled out, see if we can get up under the dash and find the problem. Hopefully it's something simple. Just a couple of bolts. Well, there's the seat. There's a hole. But there should be a couple bolts back here underneath. 2 on each side, and the seat should pop right out. Well, now I've got the seat out. You can kind of see the extent of the floor damage. The unibody isn't that bad, but the floors are bad. And I've put floors in Torinos and a bunch of my cars. And the floors are readily available for this, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. But yeah, I don't know. But when I pulled the seat out, I did find something really cool and really don't see much of. First off, ashtray in the back seat and on the seat. But there is the original build sheet or buck tag or whatever you want to call it. It is still here. Not much left of it. And I don't know if it's going to make it out. So I'm going to take a couple pictures of it. See if I can get it out of there. But it's so frail. It's like tissue paper. I don't know how well it's going to come out. We'll try. Well, I have a water pump. It's a D7 or 77 water pump for a 302, but they're all pretty much the same. My biggest concern is this has been opened, but it's got a thermostat in it, so I don't know. I'm going to pull that off. I got to see if I have gaskets yet for the water pump. This one, oh no, this one's crunchy. You can feel it binding, so I'm going to try and get this water pump off. Hopefully nothing breaks. Okay, plan B. I got this one broke loose. That one broke loose. That one kind of moves. This one doesn't move. And this bolt broke off. These bolts for the water outlet, they're froze on. It's partially like a chemical reaction. It's the alloys with the steel. They like bond together. So I'm going to take a vacuum, suck this out. I'm going to try and change this hose. And we're just going to wing it with this water pump. I just want to get it running and up to temperature. I mean, yeah, I don't want to break no more bolts. And if this thing will run and hold some kind of fluid in it, it's a lot better than starting to snap bolts and getting way into this yet. So let's just plan B. So here's where I stand. kind of get everything back together. I gotta attach the shroud yet, but I still got belt to put on. Luckily, I can run the fan with the power steering pump because the alternator bolt is broke off in the block. So, like I said, without having to start pulling all these broken bolts off, I just want to run, get up the temperature, get it moving, the power steering pump will spin that. So I cleaned that up, but as you can see, it had the belt sitting in here too. So she's a little thin. It literally rotted the pulley away. I have a bunch of extra power steering pumps, but for the time being, I think those are the right belt. Things like from the 80s. But we're going to try this belt, get this belt on, get the shroud on. I think the float's sticking on the carb. We're going to tap on it. But I want to get it running, see if we got them forward and backward motion, and next step, we'll go from there. Belt is installed, shroud is on, heater hoses are looped. I filled it up last night. I noticed that we obviously have some kind of a leak. So, yeah, this radiator obviously is not good. It's low. We're going to top it back off, tap on the carburetor, see if we can get the needle and seat to unstick, and see if we can get it to run, idle, and maybe even move. See what we got. I think we're out of gas. Uh-oh. I'm out of gas. Round two. I topped the radiator back off, kind of. Keeps leaking out. Put some gas in it. run for a while. Moving out of it. We can bring the idle down. See if the power steering works. Power steering works, tires are low. That's awesome. Burning off some of the residual oil and goo. I think I got all the leaves cleaned out of it so we don't have any major threat of fire. But that pulley's wobbling a bit. I can smell rubber. I think the belt is, I don't know, slipping or really not straight either. The water pump pulley's wobbling, so they're already tearing that belt up, I'm sure. Woo! Ah. Smoky in here. I set the parking brake. Let's see if it goes in reverse. That shifter linkage doesn't work at all. So we have a problem with our shifter linkage. Appears to be oil. You can see we got antifreeze or water dripping out of the pump or the hose. Well, this carburetor's become too much of a fire hazard even for me. Accelerator pump's just pouring gas out. The needle and seat keeps sticking and it keeps filling up with gas. So I have the carburetor off of the Granada that we scrapped out. I know that was a running driving car, so I'm going to throw the 2-barrel on here and see if that makes a difference in this thing running better. Well, I got the new used carb on, but while I was doing that, I failed to pay attention. I had left my ignition hooked up and I boiled the coil and it exploded. Not the best thing to do. Total amateur mistake. I can't believe I forgot to do that, but just shows I gotta get to the wiring on this thing. It's just, I can't just keep running straight 12 volts to those points. Those points run through a resistor wire, and yeah, it wasn't the smartest move in the world. There's a $40 coil down the tubes, but all right, well, now that I know it runs, it gets up to temperature, power steering works, I got to start doing some more stuff around here. I tried putting it in gear, and it doesn't go in any gear. I checked it. It was a little low on type F. I put some in. Still doesn't go into gear. But when we transported this, we bent the transmission linkage all to hell. I mean, it's mangled. So I've tried bending it back, putting it together, but I think it's just sliding on there. So I got to get underneath and look. I have to look into I'm going to have to look into a real fuel system. Now, I know the gas tank in here had a little hole in it, and the sending unit is bad. And I know that because I can see the sending unit. It's right there. This tank is done. So, that ain't good. So I'm going to have to order a fuel tank. I figure I'll just dive in, pay the $500, get a fuel tank, because I'm going to need it anyways. Order a sending unit. I'm going to order all the brake parts for it. at least just, well, I have a master, but at least get the drum brakes working again. Chased down the wiring. Turns out I looked up under there and the fuse block is just totally rusted out. I went to check the fuses and the water had been dripping through the cowl and rusted a fuse block out. So there's my electrical. Well, success. It's the end of the day. I'm about ready to go inside. But tomorrow I think I'm going to run over to the yard, my buddy Steve's place, where I have my 71 four-door Torino that came with the Falcon. As I said earlier, the seat slides in the Falcon are they're rotted out. They're shot. I don't have much hope for the ones in the 71 Torino, but they got to be better than what I have. Anything. Because I got to get a seat back in that car so I can try and drive it and move it around, get it in here. Just finishing up in here. For those of you new to the channel, I have a 71 Torino GT that I'm restoring slowly. But before it started cooling off, I got my last two panels painted. And I got to get these wet sanded and buffed. I wanted to check on them. They've cured. But this is a 71 Torino GT sports roof or fastback that I've been doing for a while. A couple of years now. But it's coming together. I'm taking my time. All right, well, I'm going to shut the lights off. I'm going to go inside tomorrow. I'm going to go grab that seat. So you can see the seat tracks on the seat that are in the car. They're rotted out. They're gone. It should look like that. But these are so rusty, they don't even slide. I went to the other Torino that I had for parts, and the seat tracks they came right out and they slide. So we're in pretty good shape. I'm going to just swap these seat slides out with that, and I'll be able to have a seat back in here. But the problem is getting these off, because I'm just going to try and beat on it and see if I can get it to slide, because the bolt is under here. These tracks are just, rotted. We may end up just taking a death wheel and just cut the top out to get the bolt to it, to get to the bolt. So we'll see if this thing will slide. If not, death wheel time. So I got the first bolt out, and I was able to swing this thing down. Now I got a chisel, and I'm just beating the slide down. Doesn't look like it, but I had soaked these. So if you look right there, you can see the bolt. So I got to slide this down some more to get the bolt out. But that one, I don't know. Success. Now, will it come out? Look at that. Yeah. We have a mess here. Can't believe how good this seat is, though. I mean, it's dry rotted and it's got cracks. It's got a little hole here, but I mean, as far as flat broke garage quality, this is like brand new. So here's my logic. I cut that whole thing off, so now the only thing I got to slide is this little piece to get to this nut. I mean, it should work. I mean, you can kind of see it, so I don't want to touch it because I just cut it and it's hot. So let me try and knock this little piece out and see if we can get to the bolt. I literally just tapped it, and look. Success. Now, will that come out? It's stripping it. All right, we have a problem with that. Time for plan B. Well, if you can't raise the bridge and lower the water, so I've kind of cut all the way around it to expose it, put vice grips on it, but this is tapered, so it just slides off. I'd like to heat it up, but literally this thing is just a fire hazard. I have those easy outs, but I don't have a small enough one to go over that. I might now that it's exposed, but I'll come up with something. So against my best judgment and common sense, I ended up going with the gas axe. And I just heated it up slightly, but before I did that, I cut a groove in the bolt so I could get a big screwdriver in it. I heated her up, and put a pair of vice grips on here, and she broke loose, and I didn't set fire to the seat. So success. Throw the new tracks on this side, and we'll work on getting a seat put back in there. We got the tracks from the other seat put in. Everything's lubed up with anti-seize. I got the adjuster rod tightened up, springs back on, so I'm going to throw this seat back in so I got something to sit on. So while the seat's out, I should probably do something about some floor repair. Just anything, a carbon monoxide repellent. So I'm going to throw some floors in. That's fine. That's fine. We got one for the other side, I think. Oh, look, perfect fit. So that should not help any of the carbon monoxide from getting in and killing me. But, you know, it makes me feel better. So get the seat put back in and see if this thing will move. All right, well, there we can see this seat is in, and it slides and it works. It goes all the way back, so my 6'5" body will fit in here. That's awesome. Well, it's been about a week since I got this thing running for the first time, and I've been going through my stash of Ford 2-barrel carburetors. This one actually came off the running Granada. Each carburetor has its own unique little issue, and most of them are fire hazards. So I could rebuild one of these. What I did, I bought the cheapest 2-barrel Ford carburetor I could find on Amazon. I think it's made out of 100% Chinesium. Should work for a little while, huh? Well, let's get a toss on, see if this thing will actually run any better. I hope so. Got electric choke. Bad. I did get a carburetor on it. The fuel pump's running and it's not leaking. The carburetor is wrong for the throttle linkage that I have, so I just kind of zip tied it on here. But I even hooked up the electric choke. Let's give it a shot, see if it'll start. For forward. Now the parking brake kind of stuck on, so I don't know. Aha! We got forward. gas and the brakes are froze on. I mean, I got a little, it went backwards, forward's dead. So, but it's running good. Do I call it a success? Yes. This thing sat for 29 years. People I bought it from couldn't believe I even got it to start, let alone run. Will this thing move? Yeah, it'll probably move. But I got to get the brakes broke loose. I got to get a throttle linkage for it. There's a lot more to do, but I'm happy. It's not even smoking anymore, other than the nutshells burning up on the manifold. So total win for me, at least. Like, I didn't find this thing in a junkyard in Wyoming and drive it to Tennessee, but it's a victory for Flatbroke Garage. Well, there you go. A big win for Flatbroke Garage, at least, but it moved 4 feet. And in Flatbroke Garage world, that's a huge win. I mean, let's face it, this thing sat 29 years, totally neglected, no glass in the back. It's rough. I mean, should I restore it? I know, put it down there in the comments. It's not really worth a lot of money, but it's a rare car. They didn't make a lot of them. So next video, we're going to get this thing in, get brakes on it, get a throttle linkage hooked up to it because my stud bolts aren't big enough for the new carb. And we'll make this run and drive. Maybe a fuel system. I bought a tank. It isn't here yet. But we'll get this thing more legit, even if it's just a push button starter in the dash. But it'll start and run, and I want to drive it. That'll be the next video. Also coming up, boom, Ashley's 68 Mustang. If you guys don't know anything about it, that's a 68 Mustang I got for my daughter because she busts her hump at work. She really works hard, and she's always wanted a Mustang. So there you go. She's been helping me build it, and the transmission's back. Engine should be done about middle to end of December. So we're going to get it in, dynamat it, do some stuff in the interior, so we're ready to drop the engine in and go. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, or at least give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And hopefully you stick around. I'll see you next time. Thanks.